In this lesson, we're going to learn about functional groups amides. So amides are functional groups that have a carbonyl group and then also a nitrogen single bonded to that carbon. So we're looking for a carbon that has the double bond to an oxygen, the carbonyl group, and then a single bond to a nitrogen. So when we're naming or drawing these, we are going to identify the root chain or the longest chain that has that carbonyl group. So whatever this carbon is attached to, that is the carbon that has the carbonyl and the nitrogen attached to it. Then we are going to change the suffix ending to amide, and then we are going to add in the prefix, which is going to include any alkyl groups on the nitrogen, and then after that any groups off of the main chain. So we are first going to add in those groups. So remember, numbering for those would be N to signify that they're off of N, not a certain carbon, and then any groups that we find off of the main chain. So here we have our carbon that is double bonded to the oxygen and single bonded to the nitrogen. So then the main chain is over here. So we have 1, 2, 3 carbons in that main chain, and then we have a single carbon as an alkyl group, and off of the nitrogen we have a methyl, and then the hydrogen we don't have to name. So nitrogen has 3 bonds total. It's attached to 2 carbons, which means the third we would assume is a hydrogen, so we don't have to do anything about that in the naming. So we have here our longest chain attached to that carbonyl group, and then we have our attachment onto the nitrogen on the other side. That's our alkyl group, and then we also have our side group there. So our main group, we're going to number that once again, starting always with this carbon is number 1. So the carbon that is attached to the carbonyl and the nitrogen. And so we have a propan amide, and then the alkyl group is a methyl, and it's off of the N, so N-methyl, and side group wise we have a methyl off of the second carbon there. So we're going to start with the group attached to the nitrogen, so N-methyl, and then side groups off the main chain, so 2-methyl, and then propanamide. So N-methyl, 2-methyl, propanamide.